Hi, my name is Kristen Knight.
And my name is Catherine Meehan.
We are both trained classroom teachers and teachers of the deaf, working in schools with both hearing and hard of hearing students that learn together within a classroom setting.
This video is the result of a partnership between the Victorian Deaf Education Institute and the Infrastructure Division of the Department of Education and Early Childhood Development Victoria. This video supports the use of soundfield systems in classrooms.
We have created this soundfield training video to help teachers use a soundfield system effectively with their class so that all students, especially hard of hearing students, have the best access to oral information.
You will hear us talking through the video to help you better understand the strategies used and the benefits of these strategies.
There are many different brands of soundfield systems. They all vary slightly. It is important that you request training on using your soundfield system from the manufacturer.
Soundfield systems help to create a classroom environment that is conducive to learning. Schools need quiet learning spaces for their students and teachers. Students under age 15 are still developing listening skills, mature language, and need appropriate listening environments to understand the speech. A soundfield system will benefit students with disabilities, for example, those with learning disabilities, language learning problems, behaviour problems, reduced cognitive skills, hearing loss, auditory processing disorders, and chronic illnesses.
According to Stuart White, soundfield systems consist of a transmitter and a receiver linked to an amplifier. They use either infrared or FM radio technologies with one or more directional or flat panel loudspeakers to spread the amplified sound around the room. A well-designed system spreads the teacher's voice uniformly, regardless of teacher or student position, at a comfortable listening level that avoids further reverberation. It is important that soundfield systems are installed correctly in appropriate places in the classroom and with consultation of the teachers who will be using them. Training in the use of soundfield systems is essential. The soundfield system will enhance the desired speech signal compared to the ambient soundscape.
We have found at our school that soundfields don't improve listening behaviour, but they enable all the children in the class to hear better. For children with a hearing loss, the most important device is the FM transmitter. The soundfield itself creates a better listening environment, which means all children are less distracted.
According to Bess, Smith and Bamford, deaf children experience difficulties in learning spaces with excessive noise and reverberation levels. Good learning environments need to be acoustically appropriate. Poor acoustics in a classroom affect speech perception, and if a child cannot hear a teacher effectively, their learning may be affected.
Soundfield systems are also really beneficial because teachers should be able to use a natural teaching voice free from vocal stress. Research has shown that teachers do not need to raise their voices when using soundfield systems, and over time this is beneficial to the teachers.
In schools, there are a range of different soundfield systems. They are all slightly different. It is really important to contact the different manufacturers and ask them to provide professional development in how the specific soundfield system in your school works. They can talk through different troubleshooting issues with each device.
The young students in the school may need encouragement to give feedback as to how the FM device and soundfield is working. Is it too loud or too soft? Once the volume is set, it probably won't need to be adjusted very much.
Today we're going to give you some practical tips to using a soundfield system in your classroom.
There may be some terminology that is unfamiliar to you.
This picture shows a transmitter. It sends your voice directly to the student's hearing device. It is essential that the microphone cable is completely unwound during use.
Please make sure the two dots on the microphone are facing out and nothing is covering them.
This is a picture of a microlink receiver attached to the student's hearing device. This receives your voice directly into the student's hearing device. This is a picture of a MyLink receiver that is worn like a necklace. It also receives your voice from the microphone of the transmitter.
When we connect the students receiver to the transmitter, we sometimes refer to this process as synchronizing or zapping in. This means that the device will connect to each other. The students will hear a beep when this happens.
Teacher-worn microphones. These are some examples of the teacher-worn microphones for the Soundfield system. Please become familiar with your system.
Handheld microphones. These are some examples of handheld microphones that students can use for share times or when presenting using the Soundfield system. We will now provide you with some tips and videos to assist in your daily use of your Soundfield system.
Turn the Soundfield system on at the start of each day or session and check that you can hear through the speakers.
The teacher walks in to the classroom and turns on the Soundfield. She puts on the teacher microphone and makes sure the sound is working.
Hello everybody!
Benefits. Equipment is working and students are able to access clear sound throughout the day. Connect the students to the Soundfield system correctly.
Okay boys, so we need to figure out how you're going to connect to the Soundfield system each morning. What would you like to do?
I think we should give you the transmitter and you would zap us in and then you can plug it into the Soundfield system. And because sometimes we might forget to plug the transmitter system in.
Okay, no worries. Adam, can I just grab your transmitter?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Perfect. And Alex. Okay boys, we need to figure out how you would like to connect to the Soundfield system in the mornings.
Well, I'm thinking that maybe we could zap ourselves in so that we can become more independent and it saves your time.
Sounds like a great idea. Okay, I'm going to call the roll, everybody.
Whilst the teacher is marking student attendance, the student with a hearing loss is independently connecting himself to the transmitter attached to the Soundfield system. The student has connected without disturbing the teacher or class. Other students with a hearing loss also need to connect.
Going to call the roll, everybody.
This clip shows a close-up of how the student with a hearing loss connects his own transmitter to the Soundfield by carefully plugging the audio cord connected to the Soundfield into the transmitter. He then connects himself by pressing the sync or connect button on the transmitter. Like the previous clip, other students with a hearing loss can then connect their devices to the transmitter connected to the Soundfield. Now all students have access to the Soundfield.
The benefits. It is recommended with younger students that the teacher synchronises the student's receiver to the transmitter. For more independent students, it is recommended they make an agreement with the classroom or subject teacher on how they would like to synchronise to the transmitter each day. Ensure the microphone is worn correctly to minimise interference or bad sounds.
Okay everyone, it's time to come back to the floor now. Can you grab your things and come back down?
Some rattling.
Oh,
Could you please remove your keys?
yeah. Sorry about that, Alex.
Benefits. All students can hear clearly when the microphone isn't obstructed. Students with a hearing loss will be more willing to use the Soundfield system if the interference is minimised. Connect your laptop to the Soundfield system for video use.
This Soundfield system uses a hub to connect between the laptop and speakers, so please become familiar with how to do this with your type of system.
Benefit. Sound will come through the Soundfield speakers, which is a clearer sound of the video for hearing students and allows students with a hearing loss to access the sound directly to their hearing devices. Using subtitles and the Soundfield system.
It is highly recommended that all videos shown should contain subtitles to support the auditory information, if possible, to benefit all students.
Benefits. Students can hear and see what is presented on the video, giving them greater access to the information. It is very hard for students to lip read on videos, and the quality of sound is reduced. Soundfield systems should only be used during whole class instruction.
Okay, so most of you should have copied that question down by now. You need to grab a partner, and once you've got your partner, you need to head back to the tables and sit down, and you've got 5 minutes to brainstorm as much as you can in response to that question. Okay? Off you go.
The teacher then mutes or turns off her Soundfield microphone so that her voice is not amplified and heard by all students.
Benefits. Students with a hearing loss will not listen into a discussion that does not concern them. Less distractions for all students, and it allows for privacy. Please note, you may want to employ this strategy when going to the toilet, another classroom, or the staff room, as students will hear everything. This is obvious, but can be done easily. Some Soundfield systems allow muting when not addressing the whole class.
This is an example of a different Soundfield microphone that the teacher has muted rather than turned off. The teacher can then speak one-on-one with students and not have the entire class hear the conversation. Muting the transmitter.
Please ensure that the microphone is switched off or muted when you are not addressing the whole class, as the students will be competing with the sound from the Soundfield speakers. The noise in your classroom will go up considerably. Mute or turn off the microphone in other situations.
Okay, so everybody, you've got about 2 minutes left to finish off what you're already doing. Alright.
The teacher must mute the microphone so private conversations are not overheard.
Benefits. Students are not distracted by conversations taking place between teacher and others. Students don't hear any confidential conversations between staff or parents. Repeating comments, questions, or announcements made by other students and staff.
Clip playing on the interactive whiteboard.
The Union had invaded it. It was a big mistake.
With captions to support the auditory information presented.
In December of 1941, the United States finally entered the war.
Okay, think about what you've already learned about the war. Can you remember why the United States decided they'd enter the war? Joe?
Was it because Japan bombed Pearl Harbor?
Spot on. Japan bombed Pearl Harbor. Do you remember where Pearl Harbor was? Owen?
In Hawaii.
In Hawaii. So Pearl Harbor is located in Hawaii.
Benefits. All information is accessible for all students, particularly those with a hearing loss. This benefits all students in the class. Repeating announcements.
Students completing their learning at their tables.
Listening up, everybody.
Sorry for the interruption, teachers. All yard duty first aid kits, could they please be returned to the health centre for restocking? Thank you.
Okay, that didn't actually concern all of you. It was just about yard duty bags this time, so you can go back to work.
Benefits. Students with a hearing loss will not clearly hear the announcements coming through a PA system. Therefore, it is vital that all messages from a PA system are repeated using the Soundfield microphone. Use the handheld microphone.
Okay, time's up, everybody. What we need to do now is I need to get 4 people out to front to come and share some of their responses. Who would like to share today? Alright, Ella, how about Nikhil, Tyler and Adam? Out you come, guys. Okay, here you go, Adam.
The other countries started making bombs, and ever since America bombed Japan, other countries are starting to develop new technology
Fantastic. So you're saying that we've got new technology because of this war?
Yeah.
Yep, great, pass it on.
It affected generations below, and Japanese people got diseases with the radiation of the nuclear weapon.
This is an example of a different sound field microphone that can be used the same way in the classroom.
Benefits. It's easier for students to use, it allows students to be heard through the sound field system, and it allows the teacher to continue using the teacher microphone whilst the students use the handheld microphone. Unplug the transmitter from the sound field system, audio cord or hub to use during small group discussions to benefit students with a hearing loss.
It can be hard for students with a hearing loss to hear conversations with lots of background noise.
Hey guys, can we just stop this? Just wait for a minute. Please. Can we use the FM for a small group?
Sure. There you go.
Let's use the FM because it'll help me hear. Does anybody know why?
As seen, the FM or transmitter has been unplugged from the sound field so that the sound is going directly to hearing devices to overcome background noise. This is another example of the transmitter being unplugged so that sound goes directly to those wearing hearing devices rather than through the sound field speakers.
Can you take the first paragraph and then we'll move on to Beck?
The Gallipoli campaign was a planned attack on Turkey.
Whoever is talking needs to have the FM or transmitter so that those with hearing devices can access the information being shared.
Benefits. Students with a hearing loss hear all comments, therefore can contribute to discussions in their group. The whole class won't hear small group discussion through the sound field speakers. Ensure that the sound field equipment is switched off and put on to charge at the end of a session or at the end of the day.
If you work in a shared learning space, it is important to turn off all sound field devices and make sure they are left charging so that the next class can have equipment that works. Some systems have external speakers that can be turned off at the end of the day or after the last session. Whoever uses it first the next day needs to turn it back on. Your school may want to set up a routine for everyone to follow.
Benefits. Sound field systems will be charged and ready to be used for the next session or day. If using a sound field system when multiple teachers will be using the room, please leave the sound field system switched off and charging.
Inclusion Online. This is an online course that you can take which involves 20 hours of professional development over a 10-week term. It's for mainstream teachers of government schools working with a student who is deaf or hard of hearing. Please see these links to access the hearing course.
There is evidence in research that sound field systems benefit listening skills in noisy classrooms.
We hope you find the simple strategies presented in this video beneficial and useful for your everyday use of the sound field system with your classroom, and highly recommend you further develop your understanding of the sound field system within your school.
Reading references. Here are some references that you may like to refer to find out some more information about sound field systems.